Hello everyone, this is Cookies. I've got turn 41 of our Omniscience casting of same Kidzin, different salt. And it looks like a few people have done their turns. Let's go ahead and jump in. Oh, it would help if I actually click the button. Alright. So Berytos, forging the Robe of the Magi this turn, then Grand Communion backed Pyre next turn. We also have a full mid-game arsenal available soon with Shed, Storm, Bloodlust, and Wrathful Skies. So in short, it's about time to start something. Alright. The Scales Nation has scaled, and now they're ready to have someone help them continue scaling. Let's see, then we had an event. Unfortunately, it's not a lab. Alright, so yeah, we have a fair amount of combat here. Let's go ahead and take a look. We got a weaponry. We got Call of the Wild, running into a little bit too much PD. So it gets HP routed. Yeah, I don't frequently, unless you know the PD values are going to be pretty weak, I don't frequently like using Call of the Wild for raiding. Mostly because I really like the werewolf to just give free wolves, and I don't want to risk him dying. Unless I very specifically maybe make a light thug out of him, because he has 20 regenerating hit points with invulnerability. But, I mean, wolves are... There's a lot of things wolves will fail against in Raphabolia, but completely understandable that he's feeling desperate enough to do something like that. He's also got a bunch of mannequins. Alright. Oh, I completely missed what that was. Alright, so maybe... So the mannequins here are a really nice choice, I think. So one of the things that he's having problems with are the Mel carts. Now, as long as it's not a fire Mel cart with a fire shield, the mannequins should be able to run up eventually, because the cavalry will probably get there first. So they'll HP sink the army, but they could also run up to many different thugs and SCs and just outright kill them, because they'll fatigue them out and then get a bunch of critical hits with their claws. So I like the addition of the mannequins. With Cloudbreakers, we've got a little hell-hurting raiding group. I think a few of them, I think they're all blessed. Nice. But it's just one PD, so it's pretty good. Then we've got Xibalba going after Sauromatia train. So this must be something that maybe they've talked about with Hinnom, is what I'm starting to think. Or they're going to piss Hinnom off. But I don't know why the poor mage is out here. It's a fair amount of Sauromatian PD, but this is a really nice Balban raiding group. So between the Sacreds and then all the Shade Beasts generating new Solus, I mean, we've seen this group going for a while. Then in Akerjab, we've got Hinnom attacking Sauromatia. We've got some mercs here. First archery volley killed two. Oh, the mercs turn tail. Okay. Then in Indron, a little bit more raiding on Lanka. And I think I misread it last time. I think that was Ulm that died. And so Lanka, we're still waiting for Lanka to die. I think I just completely misread that. So good reading comprehension for me. Then in Hidden Realm, we're taking a Lankan province. And this is the last Cave Realm 1. But it does bump into Xibalba. So we've got a pack of Shade Beasts and one mage. Let's go ahead and see how they do. So the Shade Beasts were super effective in the cave. In terms of their dark power, this is what their stats look like underground, because they've got dark power too. So they've got a pretty high attack, it's an okay damage, but pretty high attack reanimating bite, but it's also a magic weapon. They've got 10 defense, 3 protection, and 30 morale, and they're ethereal, so somewhat hard to kill them in response. I don't know if that will annoy her, and I don't know if he's made any sorts of agreements with Hinnom. So it could, and Hinnom and are two nations that could talk to each other about killing Xibalba. So we'll see if some of this stuff ends up doing some provocations. In Winden, we've got the Mekone Grand Army just killing some PD. Helheim up against Tianchi. The Shock Trident has a few gems for the buff cycle on the Hang and Draw. Let's go ahead and see this. Iron Skin, Temper Flesh, Soul Vortex, Blessing. Alright, we've added it to the script. Shroud of Bewilderment. So you did choose Shroud of Bewilderment over Dread. I think, okay, I guess that makes sense. Rather than the fear of relying on the fear effect triggering, you instead rely on the Shroud of Bewilderment for survivability. And that makes sense. Did he just shock himself? Yeah. Shock Trident still has a chance to DR and hurt the user. Yeah, what's going on with these archers? It's like they're completely bugged out. Okay, that was weird. Yeah, this whole little interaction is super weird. I kind of hope they fix that at some point. Where it's like they run up and they're about to attack, so they're waiting for their attack thing, but the other person moves out of the square. And so they end up with like weird chasing animation. Alright, so the Hang Drop clears the PD on TNG. Very useful thing to do, and puts the siege on the capital. In Northia, we have Xibalba continuing to raid out. We've got a bunch of scorpions. Ooh, the Prophet's here too. So this is, I think, a lot of the stuff that was left from the capital assault on Lanka. But I'm not... Well, the Serpent Fiends are going to die, which is unfortunate. Yeah. The Serpent Fiends are probably better trying to avoid gem baits, but if you've not got gems on the army, I don't know what you do there. I think that was hold and attack. Maybe like closest so that they get some help from the scorpions. But if you're just going up against PD, I'd probably just bodyguard them so they don't run in. So yeah, it loses 5 Serpent Fiends and a Fire Drake. All to PD, which is a little bit sad because if you run across actual enemies, you're gonna want that stuff. The Serpent Fiends are kind of glass cannons. They don't have a lot of protection, but they do have a death poison. So you want to send them in on real targets where you know they'll probably still die, but at least they'll provide their value on those targets instead, rather than PD. Alright, so we ping this throne. This is the vampire throne. So a whole bunch of vampires. We've got a couple of body ethereal casts. We've got this count back here doing some Horde of Skeletons. Also has a ring mail. So his protection is actually pretty insane versus mundane. And then a little block of thralls. If you've got magic weapons, like Xibalba does, this should be a super easy throne. In Mountains of Evernight, got a group of Rephites. Alright, most of them, at least most of them should be blessed, so he should be fine here. And this is the kind of fire shield mill cart that the Sauromatian mannequins would want to watch out for. Okay. In a main, we've got the Troll Mercenaries. And they're the Skull Crushers. Just beating up some PD. Alright. And then in Glannis, sorry about that, had to cough. Alright, let's see. We've got the Tianchi army. Ooh, and the Helheim army. So, big fight. Let's go ahead and see what they were casting for their round 1. So we've got Power of the Spheres, Quickness, Power of the Spheres. Okay, so a little bit of setup. Nest of Salamanders. Pretty nice spell. Makes these guys, which they have a pretty nasty flame poison effect. And you get quite a few of them. Now these guys have a heat aura, so they're burning all the human troops around them, and the skeletons and the mages. We do have a line of glaives, 2 blocks of long dead, and a fair amount of mage support, and a few chariots in the center, and we've got some attack career bait. Is this the main general? He is a general. Alright, from Helheim's side, we've got the Pretender. I have been forewarned that Helheim, the Helheim player, forgot that the Pretender will not auto-bless outside of Dominion. So we've got a very sad mistake here. And I think that means all the other mages are doing buff scripts rather than blessing. Oh, no. The troops are blessed. But the Pretender's not blessed. Okay. Well, I mean, that's good. Or at least maybe the Prophet was here and did Divine Blessing. Yeah, I think it's right here. Yeah. Okay, so he at least had the backup option of Divine Blessing, which is good. Otherwise, this would have been a complete disaster. We'll see how he does here. These guys got to pull a lot of weight for TNC, especially after burning half the army. Okay. All of us sad they threw their javelins there rather than killing the sacreds. Alright, and you want to clean this up quick because you're taking damage from Wrathful. Oh, we've got the cat here, still with 184 HP. Does he have chakras? I don't see anything, so he can get stunned. Oh, it's a flying cat. Did not notice that tag. Alright. Alright, let's do a deeper dive. I'll let you guys see the I guess like was it here? Oh, it was Glannis. Okay. So the cat got away, we saw that. We lose 7, 8, 15, 20, 23 mages from TNC. Gets the remainder of the mage core, 38 of the 48 sacreds. Yeah, so TNC's toast. Okay, so the Frostfather dies. So we'll need to take a look at that. We lose, I guess, 4 Van Jarls. Maybe you get, do you get the half price rehire on the Van Jarl? One unit lost their mount. Okay, so one guy can just get his mount back. So he's lost 3. And he's lost, I'm going to call this half the hell hurt. A little bit more than half the hell hurtings. Alright, so Helheim took a pretty significant beating here too, including the white mage. Let's go ahead and look at this some more. So first we'll take a look up here. So we've got Power of the Spheres. Soldiers of Steel. Wrathful Skies. A little bit of luck. Now, I think here he was relying on the Bless to add the 10 chakras for the Pretenders. I think what happens is the Frostfather Wrathful Skies himself. Okay, that makes sense. No, he's got a little bit. But maybe not enough, because he's not blessed. He might have needed something like 20. Alright, let's see some of these buff scripts. So in terms of gear, here's some of the gear on these armies. This guy's rolling out with 2 Dreamstones, which is interesting. I forget, do they have a battle? They just reduce MR by 2. Okay. So let's see what the Tiger's buff script was. Iron Skin, Earth Power, Temper Flesh, Astral Shield. The White Mage, Gift of Giant Strength. For a lot of the Van Jarls. A couple of them did Mistform. We've got Luck. Personal Mistform, Charge Body. Mistform. Charge Body. So a little bit of a mix. Alright. Now, TNC does have access to a fair amount of magic weapons with their sacreds, but the Mistform will definitely help because it gives them at least one sort of free hit. And let's take a quick look at what TNC was casting. Furious Warriors to try and hit. Power of the Spheres, Water Elementals, Bark Skin, Animate Dead, Strength of Gaia and Hell, Bark Skin, Furious Warriors, So a lot of buffs from TNG. So yeah, just a lot of point buffs going out from both sides. Body Ethereal, Luck. Just kind of going through here, trying to get an idea for what's getting cast. Luck, Mistform, more Body Ethereal. Okay. So that's most of it. Now, in terms of the formation, we've got a big block from Helheim. This was so he could paint his buffs better. Unfortunately for him, it's going to run into all these long dead. And the long dead are, let's see, they've got Spirit Sight, which will help them in darkness. Now, the Hell Herdings, it looks like they also have Spirit Sight because they're Guides of the Dead. So they're all doing great in darkness, but these footmen are having a real tough time. These guys have Spirit Sight. Okay, so they'll do great, especially with the Flaming Wheel attacks. Now, they only get 10 ammunition, but it is armor-piercing damage. These guys have 5 fire resistance, which helps, but let's see, and 14 protection. So if it's doing 19, it's 14 AP, so it'll definitely punch through. So yeah, we'll have to take a look. And then let's see, we had Darkness, Howl, Wrathful Skies. So yeah, and then Storm. I think Howl was a great call because it does help distract quite a bit, and you get some potential for shenanigans in the back lines. Now, normally that doesn't do much against elves, but it, you know, I could see wolves overwhelming this little guy, for instance. Let's see, so he casts Wrathful. Yeah, so he's already been hit once by his own spell, so he's stunned. And let's take a look at some of these guys. Oh, that was Friendly Fire. Yeah, so you can see the damage here against the mounts for the Hell Herdings. So just from 2 Flaming Wheel attacks, he's already done 23 points of damage. So a tremendous amount of work being put in by these Sacreds. Looks like he's been hit again, so a little bit unlucky. A third time. Ooh, they've got Drain Life too. I forgot about that. He's got 1 HP. I think the only upside to losing the Pretender is he's got a lot of commanders here, so maybe he'll pick up the gear. And there he goes. Alright. Then it's just Howl and Darkness. What did the cat cast? Temper Flesh, Astral Shield, Elemental Fortitude. Okay. And then just trying to fight away. It's also got the Nightmare Aura. Cursed Luck. 4 turns left. But he's already been HP routed. And this is holding up his global, so if there's no retreat routes, TNG's toast here. And yeah, we can see the Demons of the Heavenly Fires did almost all the killing, aside from the Pretender. The mages, I think, weren't on advancing cast, or didn't feel like they needed to advance to do a lot of their magic. Yeah, may have been good to have them on advance and cast. Maybe it could have potentially maybe gotten some more evocations out. Hell Herdings, let's see, had about a 4-to-1 KD if we ignore the plus 11. I mean, I'd assume maybe half of that died, so maybe we're looking at 40 casualties. Yeah, so Helheim loses about half his army, including his Frostfather. Now, because all these elves are holy twos, I mean, it's gonna suck doing it, but he can absolutely get his pretender back using some Cult God. And Tianqi's army is dead. Alright, so we've only got one more battle here, which is Pranda, and then we can take a look at the map. Got some bats, finding some barbarians. Okay. So here we go. Here's the Xibalba in the cave. This whole cave seems backwards, because this exits here. And this, which seems to be further south, exits further north. So it's a cave that has very much confused me. But, oh, I guess this is technically further north, but there's the left-right, I guess, isn't right still. So we'll see if appreciates that bump, or if he wants to maybe fight Xibalba a bit. I don't know that you want to allow Xibalba to keep all this, in the same way that I'm not sure if you want to allow Hinnom to have cross-map access. So Hinnom's the first one to successfully have territory all the way up and down the map, which is pretty cool, especially for turn 41. In terms of the Helheim War, interesting. Okay, so Mekone does go on Winden. Helheim's taking Tianqi and Glanis. Alright, now this fort is cracked. I think Helheim's gonna struggle to crack both of these in a reasonable amount of time. He's also got this one still in the back lines. So either Helheim's gonna be distracted here for a bit, trying to get these forts, or there is some potential that maybe Mekone could come back up here and be like, hey, you know, you're not assaulting these forts. Can I go ahead and maybe have Glanis or something like that? But we'll have to see. But if Helheim gets to keep all of this, this should definitely work out for Helheim. I'm not expecting Mekone to run into any serious resistance in Winden. Oh. I'm sure would have preferred that I didn't look at this, but was Circle Masters. And we have to remember Ur's also got Garnets. I don't know if Distant Horizon likes managing a blood economy, but I so want to see big blood economy because these guys have the paths to break into vampires, and he'll have the death income for it now. And then he's got Garnets to also do hunting. Aw, oh, come on, make it happen. I'll be very disappointed if you don't. Okay. And you need to fort this. Please fort this. Well, a Pestilence. And then he's still got this one down here that I want him to fort too. I hope I sincerely hope he gets a chance to fort all of this and set this up. That would be amazing. Alright. Then we've got Mekone here. What's Mekone up to? Aside from Winden. So he's going to love having the Throne of the Artificer. And if I remember right, Helheim gets graphs and Mekone gets graphs. Maybe I'm just not finding it. But I think they both get mundane graphs. Mountain of Revelation. Okay. So Mekone and Helheim, who are two very good players, are going to have access to mundane graphs to help track each other with. This is interesting. Mekone's very compact. He's taking a good piece of this. It would have been great if he could have at least gotten Glanis. But we'll see if maybe there's some sort of swap here to try and end this war faster. Now for Hinnom, Hinnom's come down through here. So I wonder if there was a split here. There was no bump. Xibalba took two of these. I wonder if Xibalba's going to keep trying to go south. There's no... This should be the most unstable border in the world. I mean, for Hinnom and Xibalba, it goes like this, all the way down, north and south down the map. Potentially, if Xibalba keeps going. Alright, so he's cracked Copper Canyons. Sauromatia has freed one of his forts, so he's actually getting to trace income again, which is fantastic. Well, no, he still has Iron Peaks. So we're seeing a little bit of weakness from Hinnom because Hinnom's having to consolidate to take forts, and Sauromatia's taken advantage of it to actually collect a little bit of income here. We'll see if Xibalba keeps pushing south. Almost assuredly he wants these two now. I think Marverni's really missed out by not getting involved in this war. Because he had a couple of options. He could have destabilized Hinnom's push. Or he could have maybe vultured a couple of forts out of Sauromatia, like these two, and the throne. But, I mean, now he's got the longest Hinnom border in the world, too. I don't... This all seems extremely unstable, even if Sauromatia dies. I think this is where we're going to get a follow-up war, I'm hoping. Pretty quickly. Probably, I would think before Sauromatia even dies. I don't know why you would wait for them to die. For Fomoria, let's see, what do you do on Fomoria in terms of looking for growth? I'm not sure. You could always join an anti-Hinnom coalition. Because now Hinnom's got crazy amounts of territory, but not necessarily tons of stuff to defend it with. And then we've got Berytos, who is looking to pick a fight soon. Talking with him, he's got more Shedcasters online, so his production has vastly improved. He's hitting his research targets, like he said in the message. So I could definitely see Berytos trying to go after someone next. And then we've got... Is the border here stable? It could be. Mekone's got two really nice anchoring forts here. I would really want Glanis if I were Mekone. I would understand Helheim not wanting to give it up, though. I could see Helheim potentially wanting to elf Mekone, but that could be a tough war for Helheim, and they have taken some attrition here, so they'll want to catch up a bit. Could kill Xibalba? I think if they were in position, they could. What the attrition Lanka did, they could absolutely give it a run for their money, and I don't think anyone would get too upset about them doing it. But we'll see. Yeah, I'm now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I'm not sure who's going to actually punish Xibalba for all this extra expansion. Like the vulturing. I could see Hinnom and Xibalba maybe fighting. But I could also see Hinnom just putting up with it. But yeah, I think this border is pretty unstable. This, it could be stable or it could be a little unstable. Because if you're Helheim, you would eventually have two forts kind of in the middle looking directly into Mekone with a lot of border provinces. And if you're Mekone, you can have two forts kind of on the edge bordering a lot of other people's stuff. I mean, Winden, I think, could be pretty stable. But Resting Heights is a little bit aggressively positioned just because it's a throne, but it's it's bordering 5 Helheim provinces. Helheim can't actually move stuff into this region potentially without it being seen by either Berytos or Mekone, unless it's covered by glamour. But we'll see. That was a lot of attrition for Helheim. Oh, am I able to see if... Oh, I'm not able to see if you picked up gear. Okay. Oh, did this even show up in my battles log? Oh, it did. Okay, it just didn't show it, I guess. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at graphs. See how folks are doing. So in provinces, Hinnom is stable this turn. Is stable. Xibalba's up. Helheim's up. Especially with that victory. Sauromatia, I mean, they freed another fort, so in some ways I think their income's going to be up. For forts, we've got Berytos, Xibalba, Fomoria, and For income, we've got and then Berytos, Hinnom, and Helheim. For gem income, is way out in front. Lots of excellent site searching. Then we've got Helheim, Xibalba, and Mekone. For blood income, we've got Berytos and Xibalba. So Xibalba's turned back on the blood hunting. So there's a couple of turns there where they're finishing off Lanka, where they're somewhat vulnerable because they've lost all their Ocelotls and most of their beast bats, a lot of flyers, a lot of sacreds. But no one seems like Helheim's distracted in a war. Hinnom's distracted in a lot of fighting and probably wants time to consolidate. And then is the only one that could have acted here. And they vultured a bit of Tianqi and a couple of cave provinces. But they're not in position to really deal a significant blow to Xibalba and try to put Xibalba out. So I can definitely see Xibalba scaling here. And a scaling Xibalba is extremely scary. So hopefully people get a handle on that. We've got a lot of blood nations making it late. So we've got Berytos, we've got Hinnom, we've got Xibalba that are all still there and doing pretty solid. So we're definitely, almost certainly going to have a blood power in the late game. In terms of research, yeah, Berytos, Marverni, Helheim, Fomoria. For Dominion, we've got Hinnom, Berytos, Marverni, Helheim. And for army size, we've got Berytos and In terms of thrones, let's see, Sauromatia still has 2, which is somewhat surprising. But otherwise, we've still got a pretty good mix here. Who owns the Throne of Death? Well, one of these is still... Throne of Death is the... I think the Indie fort? Yeah, or Throne. Throne of Misfortune. Which one is that? Trying to find it. That's the Iron Throne. Throne of the Moon. I just can't find it. Okay. Am I blind? Probably blind. Oh, here we go. So Xibalba hasn't claimed it from Lanka. Okay, that makes sense. So, is this a good blood hunting province? Not really, but it's got a little bit of air income. We'll see if he keeps pushing, like if that starts a war between them, that bump. All right, and I think Xibalba will just want to scale. I think Hinnom might want to scale, but the player also plays very aggressively, which I like. So he might try to attack or want to attack Xibalba. He might look for a partner in doing that, maybe Helheim or I think it makes sense for them to work together to maybe kind of pick apart Xibalba. I don't think you want to let them scale. What does Mekone do in the meanwhile? So he's going to take Winden. He might want to make a bunch of gear and do some site searching with the Throne of the Artificer. He's going to have a very long border with and with Helheim. So unless he wants to get involved in this little shit fest over here, which would require walking all the way back, if he does decide he wants to fight another war, I think it makes sense that this army can attack either Helheim or depending on who he chooses. Maybe that'll depend on who gets involved in a war first. Who makes sense for Berytos? Marverni's got a lot of research. He might not know it, but Marverni might not be a great target, depending on how Marverni uses that research. I don't like the border down south here. Having to run through swamps to attack someone, and then you got this river here. So realistically, you're just trying to run onto the throne of Gaia with large armies. I mean, there are some supplies here. Although, maybe with his scales, it would be a lot more supplies. But yeah, I don't like the idea, like the map move from commanders and stuff would be really terrible. I don't like going further south. He could attack Hinnom. I mean, he's got a fairly sizable border here. Could absolutely fight Marverni. Fomoria is also down here. He could try to attack Fomoria, but again, that's This feels like a diagonal war if he were to do that. He could attack but that would be the two scales nations really leveling into each other. I think it would be very bloody. But he might not know that. The upside is he only has to go 2 provinces deep to get a capital, even if it's not Ur's capital. So there could be some upside there. I think with all the teching he's done, like potentially Hinnom could be a pretty good target, but I'm not sure if he'll want to attack Hinnom. Alright. And yeah, I think that's it for this one. I think we've talked a little bit about everyone. Maybe what decisions they could make, or what they might envision themselves doing in the future. I'm really happy Fomoria got a couple of provinces out of this. I think that was well played. They've got a ton of flying summons. I'm just not sure what their plans are. So we'll have to see what they end up doing. I mean, we're turn 41. He hasn't fought a war yet, outside of vulturing a couple of provinces. So there's a lot of scaling that's been happening. Maybe he's trying to tech up to White Titans. So he has 4th place in research. Now that TNG, all of TNG's mages are dead, so he's stopped. But he's in a very tight pack of research. It's really only Hinnom, Sauromatia's on their way out. Lanka's dead, so Hinnom and Xibalba are pretty far behind because they've invested a lot into blood. So really, he's kind of in the middle of the pack. He hasn't separated himself like Marverni or Berytos. And Hinnom's got... I think Hinnom with this much income is terrifying, especially if they start getting there. Like, they haven't even had a chance to spread their dominion yet, or to start scaling and consolidating all this new land that they've gotten. It's going to be... They're going to have to gear a mill cart to go get these shrimp soldiers, which is kind of funny. And... yeah, I mean, this region is just hugely unstable. I still think Marverni should get involved in this. This is their best opportunity to grab territory. Just somehow, some way get involved. Like, even Xibalba looked at this and went, oh, free land. Now, this border here might not have been moving as much, so Mekone might not realize how unstable this is, and maybe they could vulture too. Because they could certainly hire a ton of peasants or like helots to go ahead and try to take Iron Peaks. That might not be a bad idea. Although Hinnom might really not like that, but I'm not sure what Hinnom could do about it. But yeah, I think we're seeing some potential future wars. With Winden, Mekone's going to have to make a decision. I doubt he's going to want to march this army all the way back. So either he'll make a new army to fight over here with, or his next war will be or Helheim. Is my likely assumption, unless someone invades Fomoria and then he can vulture a bit of Fomoria. Hinnom's territory is highly unstable. I don't think he'll get a chance to consolidate, especially like 1 or 2 province-wide strings of land. But Marverni doesn't... Marverni seems very passive, but he's still collecting more boars. But he's also got horrendous scales, so I think you need to take your mages and go try to fight something. And I mean, at this point, he's really, I mean, I guess he could also fight Fomoria, but really he's got two options, which is Hinnom and Berytos. Xibalba, I think they just want to scale for a long time at this point. They've gotten a lot of the land that they would want. I think they want to consolidate. So I could see them trying to be at peace for about 20 turns. We'll see if people let them be at peace. I think, is probably ready to fight. If he's capped out his very large income on unit, what looks like unit upkeep, I think he needs to use all these units. Like, go take all your things, go attack someone, and then that way you can turn on full protection again, and maybe you'll get some land out of it too. So you've got some really nice sites. You've got a couple of forts I think you should build here, and you maybe don't need the underwater fort anymore. But it would be a source of consistent astral. But, I mean, you've also got the mages for consistent astral as well. So, I kind of want to see go fight someone. But, I mean, he did just Vulture Bay. He's already, at least in terms of income, he's in first position. Yeah. And he's in first for gem income. I don't know, maybe he does feel okay just kind of doing some, I mean, he's done a great job site searching. These are exactly the types of sites that you frequently want to find. Boiling Bog is too. Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, almost certainly we end up in a war here, and a war here. Like even more, I think we'll get new participants here. And it sounds like Berytos wants to do something, so we'll have to see who they decide to attack. All right, so I think that's it for this turn 41. We've had a lot of excitement. I think some of these wars are starting to wind down a bit, but it could be planting the seeds for future conflict. So I'll see you guys then. Hope you guys have a good one, and I'm out.